blessed Savior. Oh, to thee freely give. I will ever love and trust you. Yeah. Your presence daily. I surrender. Oh, I surrender. Oh, oh, to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender. Oh, I surrender. Oh, I surrender. Oh, to thee, my blessed Savior, I surrender. Oh, I surrender. I surrender. Surrender.
Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but God, He delivers us from them all. Afflictions, heartaches, pain, suffering, trials, tribulations, trouble. Nobody told me when I was younger that sometimes people get close to you for what you have. When I was younger, I didn't understand why they said, stay away from so-and-so, stay away from such and such. But one night somebody came in my room while I was sleeping. This was an adult who wanted to have sex with a child. This man hurt me. He took away my sense of safety and trust. And the pain that he caused me, it made me angry. But for the sake of the family, you know, we don't want to say nothing because he might go to jail. Yes, he needs to go to jail. It's a crime to sleep with a child. Where were you? You were supposed to protect me. And it just made me angry and angrier. There was nobody there to protect me. Where was my father at this time? He didn't even show up at the hospital when I was born.
Come on. Wow.
He didn't show up that night and many nights later. You know, I thought being a preacher's kid At least he would have just showed up. But nobody told me that people get close to you just so that they can get what you got. Years later, after God had healed to a point where I could even talk to people. For 2 years, I didn't talk because I had been hurt and wounded so bad. I didn't want to connect with nobody. I didn't trust anybody. But little by little, God began to move and talk to me. But it wasn't until I was riding on the back of a truck and I was looking up at the sky and all of a sudden, I just felt like letting it all go. Sometimes you can't hold on to all that stuff. These bodies were not meant to hold on to grief and pain and sorrow. We have to let it go or it will kill us.
Right. Right.
But that day, I still didn't feel like talking. I wanted to sing. That's when I knew God was doing something. He showed up. But years later, nobody still hadn't dealt with that anger. And it was still there, but I didn't know how to get rid of it. So I'm still trying to be a child, a young adult. I'm thinking everything okay. Well, I'm going through teenage life, high school, all that other stuff. But I got married, and I thought everything was good, you know. But my husband, you know, you would think that somebody you committed yourself to before God, that covenant relationship, you've pledged your love, your loyalty, and to be betrayed by a kiss.
Our Lord.
It would be one thing if it was a woman. But what do you do when it's a man that wants your man? How do you handle it? How do you cope? And I love to tell you that I prayed with him. But that anger and that rage came up in me. And nobody told me how to get rid of it. And we kept having babies. And that anger and that rage just kept going on. A couple of years later, I had a miscarriage. And that man hit me so hard, and still, why are you still here with him? Nobody had told me that I was beautiful, that I was loved, that you were a child of God. Don't stay in this. Nobody told me. It wasn't until years later that I came to a church called Cathedral of Praise. They were preaching and teaching the Word of God. But that anger was still there. And I had to go back and forgive those people that hurt me. I had to forgive those people that got close to me. I had to forgive that anger I had even for myself.
Wow.
See, nobody knew those things about me. Nobody knew that I had been raped. Nobody knew years later, after I had been raped again. Nobody knew that I had a baby by my rapist. Nobody knew. But that anger and that rage. And I'm saying, God, I need you. I need you to come and help me.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
I can't do this by myself.
Yeah.
I'm about to make a mess. If I go home tonight, somebody is going to get hurt. I didn't know how to deal with that rage and that anger. But I heard a word that we can go boldly before the throne of grace and find help in time. Lord, I need you now. I need you now. One of the first messages I heard from Bishop Craig Ward Johnson was about forgiving. And I had to go back and forgive him. I heart had been wounded. My soul was torn like it was ripped from you.
My God.
But what do?
What do you do?
You have to stand. Get up.
Yeah.
God don't want you to stay right there.
Right.
You got to get up. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but God delivers us from them all. You're a child of the Most High God. Know who you are. He's going to be with you even until the ends of the earth. Stay there till He comes. He'll be there for you. I told you I had been raped. I had a baby by my rapist. And a lot of you don't know that that child grew up and had a daughter. And I'm raising his daughter. Her name is Shariah. Her name means gift from God.
What you say?
That's my baby. That's my baby. Rage. If you don't handle what's handling you, it'll be a mess.
Yeah.
Give God the glory. Everything I've been through, it wasn't for me. Somebody is coming up right now that's going to have to know where to go, how to go, who to go. But if they're embarrassed or they're ashamed about it, they won't say nothing and they'll stay in that little corner.
Right.
I love the Lord with all my heart. And I hope I said something to encourage you. Come on to Jesus. He can fix it. Stand on His promise.
This is my all-time favorite song. A sweet marinade that resonates in my spirit and expressive lyric that represents a sense of accomplishment. It's my anthem of endurance through God's faith and assurance that I can do all things through Jesus Christ who gives me the strength. Now I'm prepared for this day. I created my guest list and checked it twice, careful not to exclude anyone from my inner court to share my special day, but to my dismay, there was a delay that didn't quite cause me to really rejoice in ceremonial bliss. Now, see, I would be remiss if I didn't share my testimony of tragedy to triumph and let God get the glory. Because, see, at first, I was a little ashamed and embarrassed to share my story. Now, let me take you back to June of 2011. You think I'd be in seventh heaven, right? Chairs, tables, food, and drinks. Kept it down, check and check. Everything was in sync. The air was filled with pride, with my family and dear friends by my side. But I still couldn't quite rejoice in that day. See, my other sister, she was the loudest, oh my God. She was the loudest cheerleader that I ever heard. I mean, getting on people's nerves with her piercing echo of, "I'm so proud of you, my big sissy." My eyes began to swell and get misty. But I still couldn't rejoice in that day because, see, my other friend, she was trying to find my name on the program. I kept deflecting her pleas to find my name on the list of decrees. I mean, come on, y'all know how it is when you're so close to your sense of accomplishment that they go ahead and allow you to participate in a graduation with the promise of completing your commitment. And so it began. A series of defining moments that would discard all of my hard work and labor, would strip me down and build me back up again and allow me to walk in God's supernatural favor. You see, when I was in my teacher credential program, I thought it was a good idea to start my master's work early and kick butt and take names. I actually completed all of my coursework. I just had to finish my test to get my degree. You see, my test came through my family. It came in a series of 3. You know, the doctors, they told my family to put my mom in a hospice situation based on her decline in health. But I told that doctor that we work with a higher entity called the Trinity. And you know, my mother, she does the matrix, you see, and at the age of 71, God still gets the victory.
Wow.
At the age of 19, my eldest son was diagnosed with schizophrenia, which caused mass hysteria in my home. But God prepared me for this day by creating a career path of special education in my mainstay. But yet and still, while the groundwork was being laid, I couldn't believe that my seed needed psychological, emotional relief. But to God be the glory for instilling the word of God in my son, from which he continues to draw from. I mean, he was covered at birth. And I want you to know, at the age of 24, he's selecting the university of his choice to complete his degree.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
My heart was broken, shattered into a million pieces. I mean, I couldn't believe that my nephew Desmond at the age of 21 was gone in disbelief. I mean, nowhere to be found was spiritual, emotional relief. I mean, I felt like I was pierced in my side. For my family's mournful cries. I mean, sleepless nights in torment. Never again to hear, I love you, TT. Never again lay dormant. So in 2017, I said, Lord, this is it. I'm going to complete the task because you said not to quit. But in the process, all of my coursework had expired. After 7 years, never again to be repeated. I mean, I felt like all of my overachieving efforts to start my master's coursework early was a slap in the face. But God said, in spite of all that, it was not in vain, and to pick up my pace. So I dried my face and I said, okay, Lord, what next? And God had to remind me that I was still full of purpose.
Yeah.
All right now.
I was recommended for the master's coursework for Claremont Lincoln University. But initially I thought, I can't get into that program. But God had to remind me, he said, don't you believe in the bread I am? I mean, I healed the sick and I raised the dead. I cast out demons. I provided plenty of fish and seek for seamen. I mean, I corrected you and I told you that I would take care of your family when you couldn't see way out and you still have doubt.
All right.
I want you to know that I'm hailing at a 4.0. Can you glad to take your name to 4.0? I want you to know that you just continue to believe whatever your this too is shall pass.
I know that's right.
It's Friday night. I'm home alone watching TV, really flipping channels, really trying to stay awake. You see, it's also New Year's Eve, and I'll be waiting for my husband to call. So I stop on Breaking News, Channel 7. The reporter says there's an accident at the corner of Crenshaw and Florence in the city of Inglewood. I lived in Inglewood for 10 years, so I know this intersection very well. So the camera shows an upside-down vehicle resting against a pole. Looks a little familiar, not really sure. Is it blue? Is it black? The vehicle's really mangled, so I just kind of flipped the channels. Nobody wants to receive this type of information on New Year's Eve. So I awake the next morning to the phone ringing. I missed the countdown, fell asleep. So I grab my cell and I look at it. No missed calls, no messages. So I snatched the phone off the nightstand. And it's a friend. She's saying that she heard a rumor that some friends of ours were killed in an accident. So I tell her to call her right back. I hadn't heard anything from my husband. You see, he's at work. And so I make one call. The person on the other end is the daughter of the couple that was killed.
So she confirms to me, she says, yes, Nina, my parents were killed by a drunk driver last night. So I tell her, you know what, I'll call you back. Let me get myself together. So I call and I tell my friend, you know, I'll be over. I know her husband's out of town. I call my husband. He answers the phone. There's no worry, no concern in his voice. And so I said, where are you? So he says, I'm at my brother's house. My next question, where were you last night? He says, you know where I was. I was at work. I told him, no, couldn't have been at work, because you would have called to tell me our friends were killed last night. So, you know, some time goes on. We have to get ready for a funeral, a double funeral. We have to be there to support our 15-year-old goddaughter who just lost her parents. And so somehow, we make it through. I make it through. I never questioned where he was that night or who he had been with or what was going on. So a little time goes by and he starts acting up again. So I call him from work one day and he tells me I'm taking off today. I'm like, oh. I get happy. The next day is my birthday, so I think we're going to go out and do something, have some fun. So he tells me someone gave him a ticket to a concert. Going to see Frankie Beverly and Maze. Hey, this is one of my favorite groups. I'm real happy. But then I said, wait a minute. Did you say a ticket, as in one?
There we go.
So he says, well, yeah. And I'm like, you know what, I'm at work. We'll talk about this when I get home. Well, of course, when I got home, he wasn't there. He wasn't answering my calls or returning any messages. So, of course, I wait. And he comes strolling in about 2 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, I'm waiting on him. We need to talk. And so he says, you know, I'm grown. I can do what I want to do. I can go where I want to go. And I'm like, not in here. So I walk down the hall to talk to him, and he turns and he walks away. I get to the end of the hall, and he actually walked out the front door. He's going to the curb to get in the car. I said, not tonight. You done ran enough. We ain't gonna talk. So I run and I grab the keys to the truck. He takes off. I take off. He hooks a left, I hook a left. When he got ready to hook that right, the lights of the truck lit up the inside of that car. And at this point, I was just frustrated and tired. So you know what I did? I pressed the gas. I pressed the gas. I wanted to hurt him, stop him from running. Enough was enough. And I tell you, seconds before the impact, I had to slam on the brakes. I couldn't do it. God wouldn't let me do that. So I sat there in the middle of the block, just shaking and crying. Enough was enough. I made it home. I walked in the door, and I commenced to praying and crying. I asked God to give me the strength to guide me, because this was done. Within the next few months, the house we lived in for 18 years was sold. Next few months after that, our marriage of 28 years was done. But I tell you, happy. I found a great place to live, 12 minutes from work, 10 minutes from Cathedral. God favored me. He brought me to it. He brought me through it, and he turned it. It worked in my favor. This is Unreal. So, you know, I'm here at Cathedral one evening. I took some boxes in the back for Helping Hands, and I'm heading back down the hallway to come into Bible study. And my phone rings.
No.
Like, so I step outside to take the call, and it's my ex. And I noticed his voice is a little shaky, he's nervous. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So he says, well, you know they're repairing my house, and it's not quite ready for me to live in yet. I said, okay. He says, I need a favor. I said, okay. So he says, I need to know if I can come sleep on your sofa for a couple of weeks. I tell him, I said, you know what? I was about to step in the Bible study, I'll call you back. I walk in the Bible study in disbelief. I come and sit where I normally sit, and I'm just like, what is this? You know, I had told him I wanted us to be friends after the divorce, but I'm like, God, really? So I'm sitting over there, and Bishop is teaching. And he is teaching, you know, and then all of a sudden, Bishop breaks into his famous saying. I don't know who this is for. But God told me to tell you something. I'm sitting over there looking at Bishop like, don't do this. He says, you know, when people treat you bad and they ask something of you and the world of you want to tell them where to go and how to get there, I'm staring at Bishop like, really? The Bishop says, you know, the God of you has to do the right thing. I'm staring at him like, really, Bishop? Needless to say, I let him stay. I let him stay. Well, there were some mornings I would get up and leave, going to work. He would be on my couch snoring, looking comfortable. I would walk over there and stand over here and just about ready to kick the couch. I tell you, that 2 weeks, that 14 days, it turned into 14 months. But I was good. I did the right thing. I did the right thing. And so I stand here to say, just to say, if there's any woman out there that's dealing with drama, you know, someone not treating you right, you have to walk away. You really have to walk away. So in closing, I'd like to thank my Auntie Doris for inviting me to Cathedral back in 2007. Miss Connie, I thank you for loving on me the second I walked through the door. You had no idea it was my first day at Cathedral, nor that it was my first Mother's Day without my mother. I felt so much love at the Cathedral, I did not shed a tear that day. And lastly, to our bishop. I remember the day I joined Cathedral. I walked down front. I was the only person to join that day. So I walked down front, tears rolling and everything, and Bishop looks at me and he says, I knew you were coming up here. I seen a light over your head. And that was confirmation that I was where I needed to be. Thank you.
4th grade. I got chased home from school from a boy who was one of the 4 who had allegedly sexually assaulted my classmate. And I pressed her to tell. And from that day forward, I hadn't seen her at school no more. I hadn't seen him either. So it's kind of odd that on this day that I was walking home from school, he was behind me. I got a little nervous, so I started walking faster. He started walking faster. Like, something don't feel right about this. So I started running. And he chased me. And he grabbed me by my hooded sweater. But I was able to break free, and I started running home. And I was running, but my house kept looking like it was getting further away from me. But when I reached my house, my mom just happened to be standing outside in the front yard. She was talking to one of her good girlfriends, so I was like, whew, okay, I made it. But you know, that motherly intuition must have kicked in. And she stopped her conversation and she looked at me and she said, "Are you running from that boy?" Yeah. I made it, you know, I'm at home, thinking I'm safe. She said, "I said, are you running from that boy?" She was like, "You better get down here and beat that boy's tail. You don't run from nobody." She said, "You better get him or I'm going to get you." Before she could finish that statement, I leaped off that porch. I jumped on that boy. I beat him like my life depended on it. It did. I wasn't going to let Killer Alice get me. No, ma'am. No, sir. So I beat that boy. I beat the brakes off him. She said, "That's enough." Okay. Thought that was it. She lectured me all the way into the house. "Don't be no punk. You don't let nobody." I'm like, okay, I got it. 2 years passed. Now our family's hit with some tragedy. My mom's eldest sister passes away. Her birthday is the day after mine. I had never experienced death close to me like that. So it affected me, you know. So we have the funeral. I'm young. I don't know nothing about no repast. I'm mad because everybody came back to my grandparents' house and looked like they having a party, like they socializing. They eating up all the food and the dessert. And I'm looking like, why are y'all here? Don't y'all know my auntie just died? I'll never see her again. So I wanted no parts of them. My grandfather was a reverend. So I retrieved myself to the back of the house. But at the front of his bedroom was his study. I knew not to sit there. So I went all the way to the back. And I'm sitting there. Can't tell you what I was thinking. I just know I didn't want to have no parts of those people in the front of that house. So I'm back there. And the door busts open. And it's my cousin. She's 1 month older than me. And she's crying. But she's bothering me. Because I'm back there to be by myself. And her crying starts really irritating me. So I look at her like, what's wrong with you? She's like, that boy out there. That boy said that's why your mama dead. You ain't got no mama. Baby, let me tell you something. Something clicked. I got up, walked through the house, didn't say a word to the people, went outside, saw my target. He was oblivious to the rap he was about to be met with. So I strolled on down the street. He on the bike. Now he done made a song about it. You ain't got no mama. Your mama dead. Your mama dead. Oh, wow. Okay. I walked right up to him and mollywopped him off that bike. But let me bring y'all to something that I didn't realize back then. See, Bishop had talked about, be careful about the 2 wolves. There's a good wolf, there's a bad wolf. I'm in the 6th grade. Nobody told me about these wolves. So while I'm cowabunging him, something said, chocolate. You see them 10 trash can lids right there? Take them lids and bust him upside his head. So I complied. Went back over there and he screamed, "Mama!" And I'm beating his tail with them trash can lids. He ain't singing. Now he's crying for his mom.
That's right, that's right.
And then my auntie says, LaRonda Murray, what are you doing? Get off that boy. I complied to her too. Turned around, walked right back into my grandparents' house, didn't say a word to nobody, went to the back. Guess I blacked out. I was all right though. In my mind, I was a protector. See, I justified my actions. So within that same time frame, here we go with another devastation. My parents let me know we're going through a divorce. All I could think about was my original pastor, the late Reverend M.M. Merriweather from New Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church. He used to say all the time, a family that prays together stays together. So me being smart, when my family broke the news to me, I walked over and said, no, because a family that prays together stays together. Let's pray. Well, that didn't work. I tried it. They got a divorce, but it's okay because we're still a family. We're just going to be living divided. So now my walks home from school is a little bit further. So I guess the neighborhood homies realized, oh, Chelsea got to walk home from school by herself. That ain't cool. So we got to teach her how to protect herself. So what my parents didn't know was every day they would take me outside and teach me how to protect myself. So they would teach me how to fight. Street fight, boxing, whatever they felt they wanted to do to me, that's what they did. Needing certain every day. So by the third time, I'm laughing because I'm like, these is gangsta thug dudes trying to bake a cake, right? They ain't got none of the ingredients for me being funny. I go ahead, dog, got you for me to bake the cake? He didn't find it funny. He was like, cuz, talk too much. Little cuz, I'm like, yeah? What's wrong? So I just turned to go get what he needs. And he takes his cake cutter out of his back pocket. And he aims to stab me in the back of my head. I brought his attention, you know what I'm saying? So we get to fighting. And we fighting hard. Because see, he was the teacher, right?
Okay.
But he don't know in the course of my life, I done been through some things. So I'm not that little girl that you kept in that box. I'm grown now. I done had some situations. And I ain't taking it. I ain't taking it from no man. Okay? So while he's aiming, we get to throwing them bows. So he feels my strength, like, oh, she know a little something, something. Yes, she do. I ain't gonna get beat up by no dude. So we tore that house up. We fought from the front room to the hallway, tearing up TVs, all that. And then one of the OGs was like, she ain't giving up. They were like, cuz, that's enough. So they got me up off of him. Yeah. But then I'm like, oh, I'm invincible now. I just beat up a dude. I'm not having it. But what really happened was, I stopped letting people get close to me. Because I realized as I let people get close to me, they start to mistreat me. They start using me. They want to keep me in this little, I'm always going to be this little person. Kind of like when I came up into Cathedral.
Come on, dog.
I was guarded. But see, the house of the Lord is where the sick come to get healed. But I just was prepared to be a chair filler. Let me get my word, let me get in, let me get out. But I'm convicted because Bishop, he got that love heart. He want everybody to be loved on him. So he always saying, love your neighbor. Yeah, I don't, them are spirits. I can't let people touch me. But he always has a method to his madness. See, somebody today woke up, didn't nobody tell him they loved him. So now my layers is getting peeled off. That's true. That happened a long time ago. Then people, because now the man of God is under the anointing and he's saying my name in church. Then I'm seeing people like, you? Questionable? see that? But the fleshy side wouldn't go talk to you like, what's wrong? Something wrong in your spirit? Then the man of God say, you gotta wear ministry and leadership like a jacket. Well, I can't have mine on tight and snug. Gotta loosen it up. You know, Bishop, he always got something to say. Then he say, sometimes you gotta look like a punk. And my mama said don't be a punk. The homie said don't be a punk. Now I'm in the house, I gotta be a punk. Jesus, doing this Jesus thing, something, I don't know. But then I hear God say, you gotta be a punk, because I'm shifting you. If I allow you to go back to those days, then I can't do what I need to do for you. See, back then they taught you how to fight with your fists. I'm teaching you how to fight in prayer. So when my spirit is concerned and I want to go and get fleshy with you, this man of God has given me the cheat sheet about my destiny. So I can't cut up on y'all. Because my praise cannot be manufactured. Every time that man of God tells us that we are not who people say we are. Right? See, that's not word for a little girl like me. I gotta say that to myself, whether I make it a declaration, affirmation, I'm decreeing it, I believe it. Because God's been too good to me.
Yeah.
He's protected me, He saved me, and He just healed me. So why would I cut up on somebody? And why would I chase a comment? Because y'all ain't saying it to me.
All right. All right.
And God's stats is better than my stats. So when I say I'm not who people say I am, that I am who the word says I am.
That's right, girl.
Let me tell y'all something. I am who I am
Sing the song, baby.
today. Because God used my
Sing, child,
mistake.
sing.
He working for my good. I know what else
Come on now.
it was necessary. Who I am today. Because God used my mistake. He worked them for my good, yeah. Like no one else ever could. I am who I am today. Because God used my mistake. He worked them for my good, yeah. Like no one else ever could. Girls, can you help me say that? Come on. I am who I am today. Everything that I went through. Because everything that you're going through, you have to understand that it is a test or a testimony. Yeah. If you know that you've been through some things in this room, while you're going through some things right now, you ought to just lift up your hands right now. Can you say that again? Can you say it again? Like no one else
It is necessary. Be quiet. It's a secret. Until my first child. You see, my baby would be about 23 years old. I just remember it being so secretive. I remember I was so scared. Shh. Don't tell anybody. I didn't tell a soul. Most people in here, including my mother, are hearing this for the first time. I wanted to tell you I was scared to speak because I knew that you were real. I never went to the hospital. Don't know how I knew, but I knew you were there. See, at the time, your dad was in jail, so I was so scared to tell anybody. And after a while, time went on. So I wrote your dad a letter and I told him. And I think 3 weeks later, I felt a little bit of comfort because your grandma came. And she said, everything's gonna be okay. So even though I hadn't told anybody, I had a little sense of relief that everything would be fine. And then that day, you see, baby, I knew you were there, and then I knew you were gone. All I remember was the blood. And what I want to say to my first child is, I remember you. I still talk to you. I have never forgot you. And I know that you're in good hands. And to my second child, see, my second child will be on his way to college now. Be about 17. This baby, excitement, conceived in love and marriage, and I was so excited, yet still very scared and nervous. I just remember always being so tired. And yeah, that was me, that parent that was only 3 months and had like maternity clothes already, walking around like I was doing something. Yeah, that was me. Right. I was so excited, just happy about life, about just life, you know? And in my heart, I knew that if you get a chance to do this, this is God, this is an opportunity for him to show himself approved in me. You guys know I love music. I love to sing. But the sweetest music I ever heard was the second child's heartbeat. Flutter, flutter. I remember seeing a small little spot just moving inside of me. And the sound of that music is the sweetest sound I had ever heard in my life. And just as I suspected in my deep, deep dark side, I started to bleed. And one Friday, I went to the doctor and she said, well, the blood is here and the baby is here and everything is fine. From that Friday to the next, my baby was gone. And I want to say to my second child, I love you. I have never forgotten about you. I still talk to you. And I know you're in good hands. Until my third baby. My third baby, we didn't even meet.
we didn't know each other until devastation. You know, I met my third child on the floor at a clinic in Moreno Valley. I went to work. I came home. It was a Sunday evening, I believe. I was on my way to church, and I felt the most excruciating pain I had felt ever in my life. And knowing me, I just lay down. It'll be fine. I'll be okay. That's me. So I laid down. That was Sunday. I went to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way to Friday until that pain came back with a vengeance. And so I went to the clinic and I laid out on the floor, in and out of consciousness, not knowing what's going on. Nurses told me later on that I pulled up in the clinic and left my door open because I was in so much pain. I hadn't even realized I didn't close my door. On the way to the hospital in the ambulance, people were touching me. I'm in and out of consciousness. See, in my mind, this was it. Hey, all right, I'm good. I'm going home. I'm all right. Couldn't tell you what was going on. Just in and out of consciousness. I remember coming to the hospital and the nurses saying, "What's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? She don't have no blood in her arms. I can't pull the blood out. What's wrong?" The doctor says her blood is in her stomach. Get it from there. Went back out. Woke back up. The doctor says, "You need to sign this right now so I can save your life." I said, "Okay." So I signed it. To my dismay, I woke up. Let's talk right here. I'm gonna pause for a second. Because I woke up angry. I'm not gonna lie. I was mad. I was like, why am I here? Okay, God, we talked. I got babies in heaven. You know, I was good. I'm ready. Come on, let's go. You know, I'm all right. Why am I here? I woke up with tubes in my neck and they told me they had cut my body open. This is somebody who has never been sick in her entire life. I have never even been in the hospital. So why am I here? Why did I wake up? I don't understand. You know, people coming to my bedside, my mama, everybody coming. It's gonna be all right. It's okay. It's good. No, it's not. Why am I here? I had a nurse tell me, you know, there was somebody down the hallway that had exactly what you have. She didn't make it. You're blessed. I'm blessed. You see, you guys, I would have a 12-year-old here watching me today. My third child would have turned 12 this month. And I'm lucky? Nah, didn't feel it. Let's be honest, I didn't feel that. So let's fast forward to 2014. The end of September. God introduced me to my best friend. Though God taught me that sometimes in life we have scars. Things will happen, you will get cut, and your world will stop. And I believe that's what happened to me when I was 18, when I was 25. And when I was 30, my life got cut. And my life stopped. And I'm a film student, so I love movies. And I remember in X-Men how Professor X could make people stop with his brain. And literally, people would just keep moving. Life would keep going, but it's cut and it's stopped. Well, that's what kind of life I had before September 2014. God introduced me to my husband, and little did we know we were married a month after that. God is real.
Yes, he is. Yes, amen.
God is strategic. God knows exactly what you need, when you need it, how you need it. Introduced to my best friend as well as introduced to my hope Let me tell you about my hope. My hope turned 10 years old on February 27th. My beautiful, handsome stepson heals every wound. Every time he walks into my house every weekend, a beautiful combination of his beautiful mother and his father. His eyes are gorgeous. Every time he throws a football, every time he bounces a basketball, every time he comes in the house and says, Serena, I picked this flower for you. A wound is healed. God is real, and he knows exactly what you need. And I know most of you here heard a word from my bishop on September 11th, 2016. I remember it, I'm sure you do too. I believe God. I believe God because of my hope. I believe he'll do whatever he said he's going to do. And although the blood, although I can say to my babies, I love you, I remember you, I will still talk to you. I know that you're in good hands. I still know I have purpose. So you keep praying, and I'll keep praying.
Life, the bodies. An 8-year-old child going from house to house daily to get a can of Spam here, a cup of rice there, to feed at that time 7 siblings. Washing clothes on my hand in the bathtub on the scrub board to make sure we could go to school every day to keep CPS out of my mama's business. Here I am, 12 years old, Edison Junior High School. And my mom's sister at the time had 9 kids. My mom had 9 kids. Her sister dies, so my mom adopts her 9 kids. So it's 18 of us. So I'm going to Edison High School every day. Thank you, LaVoice. I'm going to Edison High School every day, and I'm taking my classmates' money, beating them up, taking their money, to assure that my sisters and brothers had something to eat on a daily. Finished Edison Junior High School, I'm at Fremont High School. Okay, I go to Fremont, I graduate with honors, get out of high school. I ended up at Pepperdine University, LA campus. I'm at Pepperdine University, I'm taking a course in computer programming. I ended up getting pregnant. So I ended up dropping out of college because I wanted my son to have something better than I had at that time. So I started a job at LA County Services, a data entry operator. And back then I was smoking a little marijuana, you know, on a daily. So I would take my breaks on a daily basis and go way off by myself and smoke my weed. And one day while I was on a break, my grandkids, don't y'all smoking the weed now, y'all hear me? One day when I was on a break, these 2 guys approached me and they were computer operators. So they gave me a proposal. I entered the checks into the systems and they processed them. So me and D and this guy, I started entering the checks in the system and I processed them. They got a check on the 1st and 15th and I got a check on the 1st and 15th too. Plus my county check, my work check. So about 3 months into us embezzling the county, they come to me and they say, Susan, when you see my social security number, don't let it go through valid. And don't let yours go through valid. So I did theirs prior to me taking a break. I go out on my break and I get high. I come back, everything valid going through the system. So my stuff went through the system. So 2 weeks later, some people came to my job to arrest me. But my supervisor didn't let them take me off my job. So I ended up Torrance Municipal Court. My sentence then carried 1 to 10 years, so I ended up at CIW. At the time when I went in, I didn't know I was pregnant with my youngest son. So I'm in prison with my pregnant, whatever. And prison life was hard. You know, it was very stressful, fighting, riots, and all this other stuff. So we had to leave the prison to go to the hospital, Riverside County Hospital, but they wanted to shackle us and take us to the hospital. So I started refusing to go to the hospital because I was 254 pounds. Now, how am I 254 pounds gonna get in a van shackled down like this? So I refused to go. So I had a counselor named Larry Watson, and he got wind of it. So somehow or another, he got in touch with the news, and this guy named Dr. William Rader came and interviewed me. And the series was called Trauma Pregnant Women Go Through Being Incarcerated. As a result of that, not knowing, I ended up having my baby. And when I get to the hospital, I'm in labor, and I was in labor for maybe like a week, and he wouldn't come. So they finally decided they were gonna induce it or do whatever it was they were gonna do. But you can see the crown of my baby's head. So I remember the doctor grabbing my baby's head and twisting it. He twisted it and twisted it till his arm got up this far in me. And when he pulled his arm out, my baby shot out. They ran out with my baby, and about an hour and a half later, they came back, and he told me he couldn't tell me that my baby was dead. Wow. So, because of Larry Watson, my counselor, I was able to stay in the hospital with my son for a week. After I left the hospital, you know when you're in prison, when you have a baby, if there's nobody there to get the baby, when you have the baby, it automatically goes in the system. But because of God and Larry Watson, I was able to go back to the prison, and my son was able to come to the prison with me, and I had him up until he was 6 weeks old. Prior to him being 6 weeks old and leaving the prison system, going home, Dr. Robert Schuler came because of Larry Watson, and they started a mother-infant treatment program in California, a pilot program called the Infant Mothers Treatment Program. So I was able to go to this program in Costa Mesa with my son, Ethan, me, and a girl named Polly, and this white girl, and this Spanish girl named Vera Vallarta. So we in this halfway house, and you know they had free world staff there. They weren't police or nothing like that. And we had a housekeeper named Laura. And the lady liked to eat soup on a daily basis. She worked my nerve. So the white girl in the house, she had cancer. So I told Polly, what I need you to do is I need you to save me your pee in this bucket. Start saving your pee for me in this bucket. So I got enough pee, and I went in there and I incorporated it into Laura's soup. And I told Polly, I said, don't let Laura feed your baby the soup. So the lady sitting at the table eating the soup, gee, this soup tastes a little tangy, you know. So as a result of it, Polly snitched me out. So they shot me back to CIW. But what she failed to realize was, all of us had to go. So we all went. So I did my time in prison and I come home. But I don't really see that. I'm just going to be real, I'll tell you. Anyway, so after I come home,
All right, come on,
so after I come home, I'm just going to fast forward. My husband, at the time, he had got 40 years in a day, and he ended up coming off of prison to die. So after he died, I went through my little whatever. And 6 months after he died, I ended up, my job folded. So I ended up moving from Van Nuys, California to San Bernardino. Anyway, I ended up in San Bernardino. I'd be nice, San Bernardino. So back then I was making $25 an hour. And I said, a week. I said, Lord, what am I gonna do with $25 a week? They just want me to revert back to my white collar crime life. But I wouldn't do it. So to fast forward, I ended up becoming sick. And nobody knew what was wrong with me. It was like, you know, because when God wants you to do something, you don't do what God do. He'll do everything in his power to try to get you to wake up, but you don't listen. We don't listen. So I went from the prison, out of prison, and now I'm sick and I'm deteriorating. So I had got down to like 80 pounds, and my skin, my flesh was hanging off of my skin. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. I ended up at Loma Linda Hospital, and it was a doctor named Creek. He was a doctor I had in the emergency room. I get to the emergency room, and after about a week, he came upstairs, and he wanted to know if anybody in my family had lupus. And I ain't never heard of lupus. I heard it on Bill Cosby. Remember the little skinny little girl telling the little girl, you look like lupus? You know what lupus was. So after about 2 weeks, my mom would sit at the foot of my bed every day in the hospital. And one day he came in there and he said, you sure nobody in your family have lupus? And my mother came up out of a nod and said her sister had died of lupus. So he went to get this medicine to put in my arm. And this dog I was with right back then, you know, that dancing man, he said, if you give her the medicine for lupus and she don't have it, what'll happen? He said, oh, she'll just die. But as you can see, I didn't die. My lupus was so debilitating to where I was totally incapacitated. It was like, you know, I couldn't do anything for myself. I couldn't feed myself. I love you, Ethan. I love you. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't do nothing for myself. But I was able to, I learned how to control different symptoms. And the only symptom I couldn't control was me losing my sight. So I started praying. And because the pain is so, I live in pain every day, but I don't take pain medication. I refuse to be doped up. You feel me? So, I ain't gonna be in church in the dope fiend nod. When you see them nodding, they loaded on pills. Anyway, I ended up at Cathedral Praise, Rubendale campus. And I started coming to church on a daily, every time he opened the doors of church, I was there. So one day I was at a Wednesday Bible study, and Elder Derek preached the Bible study. And I'm like, oh my God, this man let women preach in church too? So Bishop stopped the Bible study, and he had me to come up. And I thank God, that was the first healing and deliverance service that Cathedral Praise ever had. And Bishop, I just want to say I thank God for you. Everybody be tripping because I run behind you and I run behind you, but I'm going to run behind you until the wheels fall off. Because I thank God on a daily that you listen to the voice of God and you adhere to what God told you to do. And because you did what God told you to do, look at that.
Born in the city of Los Angeles to a 19-year-old, Los Angeles, Watts, California. Maybe some of you know that area. I was born at the time Chevys were popular. Low-riding time. Yeah, you must have had a low-ride. I did. At the low-riding time, I grew up in Gardena, California. I went to Carson High School, went to Gardena High School. I graduated at an early age. And after graduation, I got a job. I started college, but I got this good job at Pacific Telephone and Telegraph Company. I was making some good money. When I was making my good money, one night I decided I was going out, and I was late. One night, I was going to see my man. So I went to the liquor store, had to get me some cigarettes. And when I got my cigarettes, I came out to the car, and there was a guy at the driver window, and there was a guy at the passenger window. And I was on 63rd and Crenshaw. You guys know what that is. Yes. Who was that in the motel across the street that got killed? Sam Cooke. So at that time, they had 2 liquor stores on the corner. And the 2 guys were at my door. And when I looked to the left, there was a 45 in my head. And he said to me, do what he tells you to do. So he told me to open the door. And that's what I did. When I opened the door, they made me drive around to Hyde Park in Crenshaw. So I parked on Hyde Park Boulevard. And I was shaking like a leaf. And they said, you got some money? I said, I don't have any money. They said, what you mean you don't have no money? Good as you looking, you don't have no money? I said, no, I don't have any money. He said, you got to have some money. Well, it's a good thing I didn't have any money because I was going to go see my man, so what I need some money for? I didn't need no money. So I said, I don't have no money to give to you. They said, baby, you looking too good not to have some money. So they kept me for 2 hours. Can you imagine pleading and begging for your life at 19? 2 hours. Please don't kill me. One in the front seat, one in the back seat, and they both had guns. One in the back of me and one on the side of me. I said, please, please. So I turned to the right, and when I looked, I said, oh. They said, you know those people over there? I said, yeah, I know those people over there. My cousin's right there. They said, you mean to tell me you didn't have us in here all this time and those your cousins? I said, yeah, those my cousins. They said, girl, get out of here. Well, I never went to see my man that night. Ooh, I missed it that night. Lord have mercy. Thank God for Jesus. See, that was BC before Christ. But the prayers of the righteous availeth much. That was a prayer that was sent down from heaven from a granny and a mother that covered me with the blood. So about 2 years later, I met this nice looking man. Man, he was fine. I met him in Pasadena. Yeah. Then he had on some Stacy's, some slacks. Shirt, he was looking good. I said, boy, you look delicious. So, I dated him for a while. And I said, well, one day he called me up and he said, look girl, I wanna see you. I'm in a hospital. I said, well, I don't have time to come to the hospital. He said, come to the hospital. So I went on to the hospital to see him. And when I went to the hospital, he had surgery. He was cut, yes. And so I said, well, you know, I'll see you a little later. I have to go. So I left. Well, when he got out the hospital, he called me again. He said, hey, baby girl, I want to see you. I said, well, you know, really, I don't know if I want to see you. Well, I couldn't see him because I had this other man I wanted to see. So I said, I really don't have time to see you. Can I please, let me see see you another time. He said, no, come on, see me. So I said, well, look, I'm going to come see you after work. So when I got off from Pacific Telegraph Company, because girl always made her own money, you know. So I got off and I said, okay, I'm going to stop by. But that day I cashed my check. I don't know why I cashed my check, but I had something I had to do. And I didn't want to go all the way across the city to go to the bank. So I cashed my check, put it in my purse, and then I went to this location that I was very unaware of, and to see him somewhere in Inglewood where they had that big donut. I was over there. You guys know what that donut is. So I was over there. You know, I was over there in that area, and I stopped, and he came out to the car, and when I pulled up, he was just limping. He was limping, and I said, oh, baby, limping. He can't do nothing. So I'm not going to be bothered with him no way, because I got a date with this other thing that I have to go see. So, Lord have mercy. Have mercy. So, when he got to the car, I rolled down the window and I said, hey. He said, you coming on in, girl? I said, no, I'm not coming in. He said, well, come on in just for a minute. So he grabbed my purse. Remember, I didn't cash my check. He grabbed my purse, and then he started running back to the house. He wasn't limping no more. So I said, well, what is up with this? He ripped on out to the car, and then he's going to run back in. I said, oh, no, I'm going to get my purse from this. You know what I said. I'm going to get my purse from this. Okay, so when I got to the door, I was in an unfamiliar place, and it's not good to be in places that you're unfamiliar with. So I walked on in, but I had an eerie feeling. I knew something was wrong. And when I got in the house, I said, oh Lord. That door closed. And when the door closed, it was like a prison door closed. You know, they heavy, they thick. That door was heavy, was thick. And he said, come on, girl. I said, oh, no, not tonight. See, I had to see this other man, so I didn't have time for him. I said, no, not tonight. So he said, oh, yeah. So he snatched me. He tore my clothes off of me. He raped me. And he beat me unconditionally. He beat me so bad. I had a hole in my head. I had 2 black eyes. My lip fell below almost to my chin. I had a broken nose. And you don't know, but my nose is crooked. And he beat me and beat me. He stomped me and stomped me and stomped me and stomped me. My head, my body, my face. And at that time, I wasn't a big girl. I was a little girl. And he hit me and I hydroplaned in the air over into a coffee table. Over into a corner. And I said, oh God. See, I wasn't saved. And I didn't have God in my heart. But I knew who he was. But see, that mama and that granny still had them prayers laid up. So I said, oh Lord, this is it. The prayers of the righteous avail much. That's what the Bible says. And they kept me. And so after that, that nice man beat me so. I ended up at the police station. But women of God, when they walk like a duck, and they look like a duck, and they quack like a duck, and you think it's a duck, you better check it out, because it must be counterfeit. It's not a duck. So that very nice young man that I thought I had was a pimp. He was not the man that I thought he would be, or I thought he was. So I met many men in my life. A man ran me into the church house.
I came to the church running from a man. I came to get some peace and some comfort. However, I met this one man, and he said, girl, I want to introduce myself to you. He said, my name is Jehovah Makadesh. He said, and I am the man. I'm your man. I came to make you holy. He said, I came to make you holy. He said, be ye holy, for I am holy. My name is Jehovah Tiskadu. I am that I am, the man. He said, I'm your righteousness. And through my son, you are now righteous. I'm Jehovah Jireh. I'm the one who provided for you that money that you thought you made. I'm the one who gave you that money. He said, I'm Jehovah Shalom. I'm the one who gave you peace. When you thought you was losing your mind, I'm the one who kept you. He said, I'm Jehovah Shalom. He said, I'm Jehovah Shammah. He said, I've been there all the time. When you was vibration beat, when you had even your little church hurt, when you had pain from your divorce, he said, your children, your grandchildren. He said, I'm the man. I am Jehovah Shammah. He said, I've been there for you all the time. He said, I'm Jehovah Nisi. He said, I've been a banner over you and your family. He said, I'm the man. I am the man. He said, I'm Jehovah Roha, your shepherd, who's kept you and leading you and guided you through this journey called life. He said, I'm the man. I'm your man wonder. He said, I'm the man. I'm Jehovah Rapha. He said, I healed your mind. I healed your body. I saved your soul. I took all the scars. I took all the pain. He said, I'm the man. I am your man wonder. He said, I'm Jehovah Yahweh. I am the main man. He said, I'm the main man. I got a son. And his name is Jesus. And he died just for you. And he died for you and you. And he died for you. He said, I'm your man wonder. And I love you. What a man. What a man. What a mighty good man. He's that man, Jesus. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. My man, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. He's my man. Hallelujah. Thank you.
All right, let's give it up for the ladies. So may I ask, how did you enjoy it? Wonderful job. This is the end. I hope you were blessed by all of their messages, by all of their monologues, and by their stories. And I am so grateful that each of you women shared your stories. And you guys look so pretty.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. Very nice job. Give it up. So nice. I hope that whatever the message that all of these ladies, I hope you have taken it. Just know that we're glad that we don't look like what we've been. And so for them just to come up here and share their personal stories is just amazing. And I just want to thank you all. I want to thank you, Abeda. It's also Miss Yolanda's birthday, so happy birthday to her. Thank you to all of the staff that helped with putting this process together. Thank you, Pastor Ward. Thank you, Mickey and Mary and all the rest of everybody who helped with the curtain, thank you. Everybody with the media and did you enjoy the sax? She had to leave. But we want to thank Dr. Miosha as well. And thank you. Did I get it? Huh? Oh, thank you too. Okay. I never got you to stop talking. And she stepped up and did a wonderful job.
Lord. Yes, Lord. All right. It's all right.
The tears tonight were tears of thankfulness. And this is not just for me, this is for some of you. You never know the effect you have on people. And that's why I believe when the Lord leads you to do something, you should always do it. I don't care how crazy it is. I don't care what people say or do. To hear these testimonies tonight totally messed me up. But it also gave me power and strength to keep going on. I thought about two things tonight, and then I want to say something about it now. I thought about two things tonight while they were sharing. One of the things I thought about is a meme that I put out on Twitter a while ago that said, be careful how you deal with someone because you have no idea what they're going through. And I think we ought to give these ladies a big hand. Particularly for taking apart what Lady Patrice said in the video. This information that they shared is not to go tell anybody. It's for all of us to get a better understanding of who they are and who they become. And then the second thing I thought about was the scripture that says they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimonies. I just am crazy enough to believe that somebody slipped up in here tonight, and through these testimonies, you heard something that made you realize if God can do it for her, He can do it for me too. Give me some tissue because now my nose is starting to run. At my age, that ain't good. Last but not least, today I'm probably sure I'll let you go. I see you standing. I want to thank God for a down there. Let me tell you why. Years ago, we were in Rialto, and we were about to do, I don't remember, we were about to do something, a play. And at that time, we were reorganizing theatrical arts, we called it drama then, and I just needed some help. I realized, I've been doing this for 23 years. And listen to this, devil, listen to this, all the elders in the house. I've been doing this 23 years, and it was tonight during this play, Peggy, that I realized that God is faithful to His word. 23 years ago on Riverdale Boulevard, I wrote a vision statement. And at times we thought about tearing up the vision statement, getting rid of it. And it talks about people who come from different places, the wounded, the hurt, the brokenhearted. And tonight, I said, God, I thank you. Because tonight I know He's a healer of the broken heart. Tonight I know that no matter what you've been through, it ain't over till it's over. Can I share my truth with you tonight? Not their story, not the guy's story, not their guy's truth. Can I tell y'all truth? So there's this church that's been after me. And it's a major church. It's a big church. And for a moment I kind of contemplated. In fact, a few weeks ago, I called Lady D and I said, I've decided I'm going to go for that church. And something on the inside kept saying, don't you go over there. And I was on my way to church tonight, and I would not lie to you. And God said, tonight, I'm going to show you why you cannot go. I said it like to tell y'all, I will be retired from it. Then you go and pray. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Do this. Make sure you love on people. Because you never know when you might be on stage. And you got to tell what you do. I found out some stuff tonight. You were married before, and then I made the man sleep on the couch for 14 months. I wonder you wouldn't talk to me for a while. What was going on? No. I found some stuff. It's a beautiful thing. Tonight, we get ready for Easter. Tomorrow, as I like to say, Resurrection Sunday. Jesus died for ladies like these. But guess what else? He died for people like you. If you don't do anything else, I'm getting into my message tomorrow. I got a whole lot of them. But I'm getting into my message tomorrow. If you don't do anything else, learn to love people. Because love makes the difference. Grab the person's hand next to you. I know I'm not the only one that's cried tonight. I know some of y'all love to laugh when Bishop cried, but some of y'all cried tonight. And just say amen. Amen. Some of you saw yourselves tonight. As if I pass the mic around, there's some stories in the congregation. And I want to say to the ladies, you did a great job only tonight. You did a great job in the advertising. This might be the most people we've ever had in the production. To look around and see all these people, this is wonderful. And what I really like is I see people of different races. Because heaven is going to be a place of all races. And I love it. All right, I've said way too much.